Nice buns, soft, fluffy, and ultra-low net carbs. Discover Hero Bread, the delicious, ultra-low net carb bread with incredible taste and texture. Hero Bread has 0 grams of sugar and is under 100 calories per serving. Plus, high in fiber with 5 to 10 grams of protein per serving. Order from hero.co now and get 10% off your first purchase with promo code AH10. That's 10% off with code AH10. HERO.co.
Current slang.
Current slang 400.
This 7-letter adjective means both dehydrated and too eager for approval. Kelly.
What is thirsty?
Thirsty, yes.
On this episode of The Commercial Break.
Do you mind if I go to second base?
She said yes a few times, apparently.
At least 3.
Of the kids.
Yeah, at least 3. Well, at least 2 that I know of. Not so sure about this last one. Don't know what's going on there. Can sperm live 78 days? Is that possible? So after a while, I just give up. I think almost like fake an orgasm. I'm like, I studied Tantra. It's called a dry orgasm. It's all good. I just use Tantra as a convenient excuse a lot when I'm bored. I'm just like, I'm in Tantra. I'm doing the Tantra. I got my penis chakras working out. I'm practicing for later. The question posed in the latest episode of Love is Blind. Is love enough? And the answer, according to Astrid and I, is no.
Well, once my heart stopped doing all the talking, I figured out nothing else in my body wanted what I wanted.
The next episode of The Commercial Break starts now.
Cats and kittens, welcome back to The Commercial Break. I am Bryan Green. This is my dear friend and co-host, Kristen Joy. Holy best to you, Krissy.
And best to you, Bryan.
And why not? Best to you out there in the podcast universe. How the hell are you? Thanks for joining us on yet another episode of this, The Commercial Break. It's not for everyone, but fact, news, or fiction is guaranteed in 15 seconds or less. Go to the tcbpodcast.com website. Do not disappoint yourself. Go there quickly and collect your earnings. Good luck to you, sir and ma'am. And whatever else you identify with. Good luck. There is hope for the men over 40 out there in the universe. Krissy?
Well, of course there is, because Frankie B.
Oh, Frankie B. 50, 60,
God's
70,
gift.
however old that guy is. Yeah. We got a real guttural reaction to that last video that we did. People were like, wow, he's lost the fucking plot. Yes, he has.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever had a plot to lose, but if he did, it's gone now. He's officially an ass clown at this point, I think. But, we'll see. Maybe Frankie, he's going through a bad breakup. We got to give him a little bit of space. We just got to give him some time to shake it all out. We'll be here to capture every moment because we just can't quit Frankie B. But Chris Evans is named the world's most beautiful man. World's most beautiful person? Or
People's sexiest man alive.
Sexiest man alive. And try as she did, our publicist was unable to get me in the running.
I know.
But I know had I been, I would have been this close. But the guy's 41 years old. When Chris Evans is named, they've had some shockers in the past. I think Harrison Ford, in his 50s, was named world's most sexiest person. There was a couple of others that kind of surprised me. Remember that time that, what's his name? Ant-Man. Who's that guy? Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd. That was just last year.
That was last year?
Yeah.
And he's 50, isn't he?
I think so.
Wow. So there is hope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally hope,
You should think
Bryan.
of the world's sexiest man. It would be some young stud, some hunk like Momoa or something. Has Jason Momoa ever been the world's most sexiest person? He definitely should have. But this made me feel a little good. I was like, oh, okay, men in their 40s, we're sexy, we're hot, we're experienced, we've got love-making abilities. Warburton 3000! It's not all ED and dad bods. There's
He's the one that I was watching film the movie at my complex.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sitting out there
I bet you
Google-eyed watching. I don't think I really ever got who he was and who he was in the action.
Krissy! Yeah. It's me, Jeff! Hey, honey, just here watching the... I got my hand stuck in the blender!
You're right
okay,
there.
hon, sure, yeah. You can turn it on whenever you want. I'm not watching. I said the blender! Yeah, that's okay, whatever. I'll make whatever for dinner. Oh, my God, look at Chris Evans.
He's much cuter than I even thought. I was just excited to watch the movie being made because I find it fascinating to watch a movie set. There's so many people. There's so much going on behind the scenes of what we see, the final product. And so when I saw him get out of the car, because it was a car scene, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, he's really cute.
I just slammed my dick in the oven! Wow, he's really cute. There's an intruder! I'm getting shot! Wow, he is sexy. How old is that guy? Look at him. He's cuter in person.
He was taller, too, than I thought.
Oh, yeah, they're all taller
actors
than
are
you think or shorter than you think.
Yeah.
Taller than you think or shorter than you think. Isn't that tall people always have an advantage in life? Do you notice
Yes.
that?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't met an
it's
unsuccessful
scientifically
short
studied.
person yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a tall person yet.
There's been studies done about it. It's true. People just think of there's more CEOs.
Natural leadership because you're taller, and if the lion
Command
comes,
authority.
you can see it first in the pack of animals
True.
or whatever. I don't know.
I guess it goes
It's
back
got to
to-
be something like that, right?
Your basic
Yeah.
guttural.
So how
instinct.
tall is Chris Evans?
I don't know, but he was taller than I thought he was.
Like
gonna be.
6 foot something?
It might, maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he looks short on screen.
Right.
I feel like he's like a Tom Cruise type.
Yeah, no, Tom
Height.
Cruise is short.
Tom Cruise is really short. It's like 4'6" or something like that.
I don't know if he's that short.
He's on the Seven Little Johnsons, I think, on some episodes. He's a stand-in.
Yes, that's what he would be doing.
But yeah, it's Chris Evans. I got to give the guy props.
Congratulations to Chris Evans.
He seems like kind of a plain Jane to me. I mean, I didn't realize he's a handsome guy, but he's not very like exotic looking. He's just kind of like the all-American boy, right? I can think of other guys out there that are better looking.
Well, for instance, your guy from the Starbucks.
Oh, the guy from the Starbucks was 15 times as hot as this guy was. Yeah, Chris Evans couldn't touch this dude. This dude, I'm surprised this dude is not in the movies somewhere. Maybe he is, and I just don't know about it. But I'm surprised that dude is not in the movies or a model. Maybe that's what he does for a living, is he's a model.
It sounds like it, based on your description.
Yeah. Speaking of models, you know how excited I got when I found that they had a Laguna Beach channel on Pluto TV? Remember that, like way back 2 years ago when I was editing in that tiny little room over there all night long? And I was so excited that they had a Laguna Beach channel on Pluto TV, because that's what Pluto TV does. They they license some property, and then they just play all of the seasons.
Well, it was between
nonstop.
that and 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street.
You were on that too.
Depending on what time of night it was, right? Because they had the hills in there too, and then but I really, the hills and Laguna Beach, both of them I liked, but it depended on if I had seen the episode or not. I'd switch between 21 Jump Street and Laguna Beach. So the other day, Astrid sends me a photo, a screenshot of Instagram, where the three main characters in Laguna Beach are all together. That's Elsie, Steven, and Kristen Cavalieri.
Yes.
They're all together. And it was like, back again. And I thought to myself, holy shit, they're going to do another season of Laguna
like
Beach.
a reunion.
Like that, called Back to the Beach. But what it was, there's a podcast where Steven and Kristen rewatch every episode of Laguna Beach, and then they talk about it. It's like one of those watch things.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, wow, that sounds incredibly boring. It's like incredibly boring.
Well, they would maybe give some tips of like what was actually happening, because it had to be scripted.
How do you get that many cameras to catch an offhand conversation? Like every angle was a movie quality angle.
It was.
And that's why it was so different than any other reality show we had ever seen, is because they played contemporary music during emotional scenes, like to bring up or down the emotional, to turn the volume, so to speak, turn the knobs on your emotions. And then it was filmed as if it was a movie.
It really was. The cinematography was great.
Incredible.
Beautiful.
Beautiful vistas, beautiful houses, beautiful people. But they'd go to a coffee shop for, to have some serious conversation that was supposed to be offhand. And there'd be 12 different camera angles. It didn't take me long to figure that one out. Like, I think it took some people a little while, but it didn't take long. I'm like, there's no way that's not staged. The camera angles are too good.
Yeah, but we still watched it.
Of course I still watch it. It was highly fast. Even in my, what am I now, 27? Even when I'm 27, it's still fascinating to watch all those beautiful people run around. So different from any life I had ever experienced.
That's right.
Yeah,
Me too.
I didn't have a Corvette at my disposal at 16 years old.
Yeah, or live right there at the beautiful beaches of Laguna.
Oh my God, the beautiful beaches of Laguna. I've just out and listen. California has its challenges, like I'm sure every state does. And I know that a lot of people think of California as kind of an out there place, just like you think of Florida as an out there place. Like, kind of there can be some nutty things that go on there. The truth is, I think both places attract a certain type of personality, like a dreamer type of personality.
True.
Because they are so gorgeous, and that's why.
Yeah, the weather's incredible.
The weather's incredible. You can't deny that Florida has beautiful weather, beautiful beaches, beautiful scenery. It's living in paradise, and so it attracts everybody. You know, it kind of, some people aren't, they're kind of Looney Tunes. I mean, they're kind of Looney Tunes. But I think California is the same way. The dreamers and the doers and the people who are, you know, maybe a little off kilter, they all get attracted to this beautiful scenery that's out there, because when you're in LA, it's beautiful.
It really is.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Around every turn, there's another beautiful vista. Around every corner, there's another shot of the ocean. Go up and down PCH, and you're like, oh my God, this is incredible. You see the whales breaching out there, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
California is such a beautiful state, but the traffic is out of fucking control.
Yeah, it's really bad. I know, I've been out there before. It's, you know, I think Atlanta and LA are the top traffic
Yeah,
places.
and I think Denver at one point was in there or something like that. For some reason, I don't really know.
Colorado's beautiful too.
Oh my God, Colorado's another one of those states. But I don't know. I feel like Colorado, even though there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of sticky, icky, gooey, dooey, dabby, babbies going on out there. I feel like there's a kind of a level-headed state in general.
Yeah.
So when I'm in California, like I'm staying in Glendale, which is like, I guess, north and east of Los Angeles, up on, like, I think out of the valley.
Okay.
And then we have a lot of meetings that are in Studio City, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I stayed in Glendale, because it's close to Studio City. You can get there in like 15 minutes or something like that. But one of the days we had a meeting down in Santa Monica, which
that's
is
where my best
not
friend used to live.
Yeah, close
Gorgeous.
to Glendale. Gorgeous.
Oh,
so beautiful.
So beautiful.
Everything about it's so beautiful.
It's so cool.
Everyone there is
too.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
Everyone there is beautiful. Yeah.
Good shops, good food, good people. Yeah, it's just incredible.
Yeah, and the constant smell of weeds being smoked somewhere.
And beautiful flowers that are just flowering everywhere for no reason.
Yeah, it's unnatural. The whole state is just unnatural. So we had this meeting at 3 o'clock in Santa Monica, and it gets done right about, or at 2:30, 2 o'clock in Santa Monica. It's done right about 3 o'clock, right? So I'm out the door 3:15, 3:30, and I'm heading back to Glendale so I can pack my shit and go catch a flight. I was 17 miles away by Apple Maps. I was 17 miles away from where I was going, and it took me 2 hours and 12 minutes to get that 17 miles. 2 hours and 12 minutes! That's insane. That's insane. It was just like, I couldn't believe it. Because in Atlanta, with traffic that we think is really bad, if I had to go from here to the airport, which is probably 20 miles away, if I had to go from here to the airport in the worst of traffic, it might take me an hour and 15 minutes. In the worst of traffic. This took me twice as long. I couldn't believe it. And I opened up that Waze. I'm like, oh, here, Waze, just keep me going forward. I don't care.
Right, just keep me moving.
Just keep me moving. I was driving over and through every back street that California had to offer. One-way streets, closed streets, up and down mountains, all over the place. You know, avoiding trash cans and people walk. It was just like I was in the...
Like an obstacle course.
I was in the thick of it, Krissy. Yes, a stop sign every 3 seconds. I was in the middle of an obstacle course. I was in the thick of it. As if I had lived in LA for my entire life. That Waze was taking me crazy places. It kept me going forward.
Nice.
But I still didn't get there any quicker. It's like when I started and when I ended was the same amount of time. And I couldn't believe how fucking miserable that traffic is. I could never live there. Never. Or if I lived there, I'd never leave my house.
You wouldn't leave your neighborhood.
Never.
I mean, that's what you do.
Is that what people in California do?
You live and work in the neighborhood.
So,
I mean, kind of what people do in Atlanta, too.
Oh, man. We met with a guy, and he's like, oh, yeah, I lived in Burbank for a while, but now I live down in Santa Monica. I take the travel every day. And I'm like, how long does that take you? It's about an hour and a half each way. 3 hours of your day are spent in the car. Yeah. That's incredibly insane. Now I know why everybody gets these. You know, everyone's got a Tesla out there, right? An electric vehicle. Everyone has now I understand why. It's because you can't afford the gas to go an hour and a half every day. 3 hours.
True. I remember I used to work with Delta and do tech recruiting type stuff. And so I remember I would talk to people and they were living in Alpharetta and working at the airport. That's
insane.
That's like an hour and a half each way.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a glutton for punishment. And then I go down to Amelia Island, like a place that astronaut.
Beautiful.
You go there and there's at any given time, max 20,000 people on the island, right? And maybe 5,000 of them actually live there at any given time. It's a beautiful, beautiful island.
It really is.
But it's tiny. It's 2 miles long. It's 1 mile wide. I mean, there's just maybe not 2 miles wide. Maybe it's 6 miles wide and, 3 miles long, whatever it is. But we go down there, and sometimes we'll stay down there for a long period of time. And by the second week, I get stuck at a traffic circle behind more than 3 cars, and I'm like, God damn it, move your fucking ass! No more complaining. I'm never going to complain about traffic ever again.
Teleport yourself back to when you were in that traffic.
It's in my memory. It's like my therapist says, when you have trauma, it just gets stuck in your head.
It does.
She wants to do tapping on me. You know that tapping? And she wants to do the tapping, and I'm like, okay.
Well, why not?
Yeah, as long as I can keep my skeletons buried, then that's okay with me.
Yeah,
as long as
I like to push them down,
no secret.
deep down.
Yeah, deep down. That's the right way to do it, Krissy.
It is.
As per what we
the
saw
1950s video
a
that we
date with
saw.
the family. That's right. A date with
don't
the family.
talk about anything.
Anything. Just don't talk about anything. You're damned if you do, or damned if you don't. Dad's going to beat you either way, so don't say anything. Hey, we had a couple of Ask TCBs. I thought I'd throw them out there while we're at it.
Okay.
All right, they're coming fast and furious, so I want to keep up with them and just kind of shed them every week, or else we're going to be
backed up.
Yeah, we're going to be backed up. All right, number 1, and I've kept them short, okay? So I just kind of took the gist of what they were saying, so that way we can get to the answers quickly. Should I sleep with the hostess at my bar? She's 21. I'm 45. I'm 35 years old. John. Sure. Why not? I mean, what's stopping you? I mean, I don't think it takes a long time to think about this. Is it legal?
Yes.
Is it appropriate?
It might make things weird if they don't work out.
If you're the owner of the business, the answer is no.
Yeah.
If you're the manager, I'd think about it just a little bit. If you're just like a waiter there,
the bartender, or the
sure.
waiter,
I don't think there's a lot of question about this one. I personally, when it comes to age differences, I think extreme age differences can be a problem. But if you're not using your age as leverage, in other words, it's just a straight up consensual, let's go have some fun, go out for drinks, whatever.
If she accepts you, then go for it.
If she says yes, then get undressed. If she says no, you got to go. That's the way it goes, buddy. Those are the rules of the road, right? And if at any time she says no, you got to go.
Yes.
Just remember that.
Correct.
TCB, we're here about full consent.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I still ask Astrid every time, can I kiss you? Can I touch your boobies? Do you mind if I go to second base?
She said yes a few times, apparently.
At least 3.
Of the kids.
Yeah, at least 3. Well, at least 2 that I know of. Not so sure about this last one. Don't know what's going on there. Can sperm live 78 days? Is that possible? In Venezuelans, yes. How's that commercial break coming, honey? Better get back in the studio and make more episodes. We got to send these kids to school.
Beep, beep.
Meep, meep. Hey, what's Matthias doing in my Mercedes? Oh, don't worry, honey. We just titled it in his name for legal reasons. Bye. Wait, I thought you were going to stay a few minutes and have some talking.
I'll see you at the retirement home later.
Yeah. I'm going to let the nurse change your pee-pee poo-poos. I'll be back on Thursday. Next Thursday. Aww. I guess I'm stuck here with Krissy again. Welcome back to this commercial break.
The only one you'll ever need.
The only one you'll ever need. I'd like to thank both listeners for hanging in there for 50 years. Hey, honey, your commercial break residual check came in today. Oh, great. I could get some food besides this. Nope, sorry, it's all spent. The kids got to pay for the kids' school. They're 30. It's very expensive to send children to cooking school in Italy. We're all going together. Oh, that's awesome. When are we going? Oh, no, honey, you can't go. No diapers on the plane. Sorry. We couldn't afford an extra seat for your walker. Aww. Remember when we used to make love on that walker? No, I don't. Now I make love to the pool boy. Aww. I guess I'll do another episode of Krissy. We're putting out 30 episodes a week.
Yeah.
It's just you and me playing pinochle. You're getting free ice cream from the senior citizen ice cream machine. I gotta go get some more ice cream. We'll be back after this short break. I gotta take another piss break. It's time for another prostate break at the commercial
Pinochle.
break. Yeah, pinochle. Whatever the fuck that
How do you
is.
play pinochle?
I don't know.
I've heard of it a million times, but I don't have no idea.
I have no idea who came up with pinochle, but apparently
Is it a card game?
Yeah,
is it?
No, it's a card game, and when you turn 70, it's like you automatically know the rules of pinochle because they're the only people who play it. I think it's Go Fish, but they call it pinochle to make it sound fancy. Pinochle. What an awful name for a card game. But my grandma used to always be like, I gotta go play my pinochle. I'm like, what the fuck is pinochle? Never learned that one. Yeah, hey, listen, go for it, dude. Go. I mean, consensual and not if you're in a position of power. Be careful with those two things because you never know. Someone could feel obligated to sleep with you. And I think like most women in my life for one reason or the other. Well, I guess I'll sleep with them and shut them up. Ask TCB. Wait, there's another one here. Okay, ask TCB. I feel like weed is making my sex life a little less exciting. I can't come. Let me tell you a quick story. It's time for story time with Bryan.
Story time with Uncle Bryan.
You can now fast forward 17 to 20 minutes. There was this girl. I don't want to get into a lot of the gory details because I don't think she would appreciate it if I shared this. But there was a young lady that was in our circle of friends. Not our circle of friends, but my circle of friends. There was a young lady. She was like 22 or 23 years old, and I was 32, 33, 34 at the time. And we reconnected in a party situation. And then the next night, she asked me to travel a short distance to another city here in Georgia to come see her a couple of nights later.
Okay.
I did. And where she was staying, it would end up been appropriate for the two of us to stay there. So she, on her own, rented a hotel room and gave me the room number and told me to meet her there later on that night.
Oh.
I did. It was like a Motel 8 or something, right? Okay. It wasn't, we're not talking about anything fancy. We're talking about like people screaming and shooting and stuff like that. It was just like a really ratty motel. But I get there and, she's also, 23 and she decided to do this. So maybe it was just like the cost of it.
Yes, I'm sure that had something to do with it.
I get there. She's on the second floor. The elevator's not working. So I take the stairs up to the second floor. As soon as I open that door, the stairway door, I can smell weed. And at this time, we're talking, decades ago, at this time, that wasn't as normal as it is now to smell weed everywhere, right? And so the closer I get to the door, the more I realize that this is coming from this particular room. And I open up the door, I knock on the door. She opens up the door. I swing it open. And what I see is amazing. She's got a Frisbee, which is, I guess, a favorite place of people to roll joints on. Why do you roll on a Frisbee?
Okay.
Do you get this? I see this a lot. People rolling joints on Frisbees. She's breaking up the weed and she's rolling. She's got like 7 huge joints like rolled out and she's got just a mound of weed, right? And another one going. And I'm like, holy shit, like she's going to go the distance. Like, this is crazy. How much weed can you smoke? So, yeah, hey, you want to puff? No, thanks. I'm good. It's not my thing, but I'll drink one of my Bud Lights. So I drink a couple Bud Lights. We get into it. This whole time, she has got a joint going at every moment. She's got a joint going. And at every opportunity, she is smoking that joint, getting higher and higher the entire time. The room is filling up with more and more smoke. And I am now starting to feel a contact high because I've been sitting in this hot box for like an hour now, and we have been kind of going at it, making out for a long time, right? A lot of pre-action action. Yeah, oh man, we're just going at it, but we're yet to have sex. So as we are doing lots and lots of foreplay, I'm starting to feel this contact high, and pretty soon I realize that I'm really fucking high. Yeah. Like, I'm really fucking high. The whole room is like closing in a little bit, and I'm feeling that body high that's just weighty, but we're still going at it. And then we start having sex, and we had sex for the longest time. Either could have been the longest time or could have seemed like the longest time.
Seemed like
yeah,
it,
I'm not really sure which it was because I was too fucked up to understand. I've been drinking Bud Light all night. Now I'm sure I've smoked the equivalent of like 6 really big joints because she's on her 12th joint and she just keeps on smoking them. And so I'm
while y'all are having sex.
Yes, she would yes. Yes, she the whole time, and I don't really know why she's doing this, but I don't really care at the same time. I'm like, oh, whatever, makes her, whatever. She's just having fun, I think, right? It's just like we're both having fun. Krissy, this goes on and on and on, and I'm sideways and upside down and forward and backward and over the bed and on top of the counter and in the shower and down on the ground and
on the walker.
On the walker. Oh, I'm trying to hold her up against the wall, but I'm not that strong, so she falls. And there's just like we're everywhere around this room. We're defiling this Motel 6 room everywhere we possibly can for every different reason, and I am not finishing the job because I can't. I just can't get there. It's just like it never stops, right? And I'm like, holy shit. So after a while, I just give up. I think almost like fake an orgasm. I'm like, I studied Tantra. It's called a dry orgasm. It's all good. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I just use Tantra as a convenient excuse a lot when I'm bored. I'm just like, I'm in Tantra. I'm doing the Tantra. I got my penis chakras working out. I'm practicing for later. But in Tantra, there's a dry orgasm philosophy.
I've heard of this.
Blah, 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 blah. So I say that, okay, now we're finished, right? So after we finish, it's like an hour, in my mind, an hour after we finish. It's probably 2 minutes after we finish. We've probably been doing it for 2 minutes, and now it's 2 minutes after I finish, right? Boom, 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 And I'm like, oh, shit, who's that? And she's like, I don't know. I didn't invite anybody. So I go to the door. I flip the little thing. It's the lady who was at the front desk, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, we're not disposed right now. We're indisposed. And she's like, y'all got to stop smoking that weed in there. I'm getting complaints. The whole building smells like weed. I know it's you. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. We're sleeping, taking a nap. She's like, don't bullshit me. Stop smoking that weed. I'm going to have to charge you extra. And I was like, oh, shit. Now I'm paranoid that she's going to call the police.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we got to get out of here.
Throw that Frisbee.
Yeah, we get that Frisbee. Throw it out the window. Send that thing across the street.
Quick.
So the girl that I'm with is not quite as paranoid as I am. She's younger than I am, so she's probably just like, whatever, it's just a bunch of weed. So I'm like, no, we got to get out of here. We're going to get busted. And she's like, where the fuck are we going to go? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll go to another motel where you can smoke more weed or whatever. And after a while, I just decide, like, she fell asleep and I was like, I told her, I'm like, I'm going to leave, right? I got too upset. I am telling you that I had to take a cab somewhere else and chill out for a couple of hours because I was so fucking high and I had never smoked the weed. But I can appreciate what this guy is saying because I went on forever and ever and ever. And I think it had to do with the contact high. I think it had to do with the contact high. I just could have been Superman that night, but I felt like it had to do with the contact high. Weed, I think, desensitizes you to some degree. It's a psychotropic drug. You disassociate a little bit when you get there, and I think you disassociate from your body. Right now, I'm not the foremost expert on weed, but I do know that much about it, and so I think this desensitization.
What you could do is try Bryan 3000.
Bryan 3000.
If you're smoking weed.
We put the ED back in weed. You need to get hard after a long night of smoking weed. Bryan 3000. Put it on your joints. You'll be hard as a rock for 6 to 12 days. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. If you can't come and your dick starts to turn purple, don't worry about it. Bryan 3000. Why Bryan 3000? Now with THC. You want to get high and get hard at the same time? Why Bryan 3000? Smoke a little on your blunt, put a little on your dick. You'll be happy to go. Ready to go. Don't worry about not coming for 7 to 12 days. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
Growing a dick onto the front of your forehead. Don't worry about it. Why Bryan 3000?
The truth is, I think, Bud, you do have a little. I think that weed is desensitizing you.
Why doesn't he do an experiment too? Don't smoke the weed.
Don't smoke
see
weed.
If you can come, then then you'll know.
Yeah, dude, I think you got a problem if you're smoking weed every time you have before you have sex. Like, what's that all about, right? And I realize some people now it's wherever you live, it happens to be legal, but then you're probably just kind of perpetually intoxicated on THC, but just give it chill for a minute, make some love and see what happens after that. That's my advice for you. Any other additional advice?
No, I think that's good.
No, okay.
Mine was Why Bryan 3000.
Why Bryan 3000? Don't worry about it. Hey everyone, it's time for the commercial break inside the commercial break. Did you know you can dial 1-855-TCB-8383? That's 1-855-TCB-8383 from anywhere in the world, toll free. Text us, call us, leave us a voicemail. It's not spam. We will respond, and we want to hear from you. Questions, comments, concerns, content ideas. You want to ask TCB for our advice? It'll be horrible, but it certainly will be funny. Do it at 855-TCB-8383 or tcbpodcast.com. Hit the Contact Us button and shoot off an email directly to our happy bag. You too can hear all of the audio and watch all of the video from tcbpodcast.com and now youtube.com/the commercial break. Our full episodes are on YouTube a few days after they air on the podcast feed, and they're filled with visual delights you cannot get here on the audio version. Why? Because you can't see with your ears. A doctor told me that once. And please, if you have 2 minutes free, do us a favor and write us a review, subscribe to our podcast, or rate the show on your favorite podcast player. It helps us get found by new folks who might be as strange as you. Let's hear from our wonderful sponsors, and then we'll be back to this episode of The Commercial Break. Hey everybody, I wanted to let you know that this episode is sponsored in part by our good friends at Lululemon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and whatever you identify yourself with, listen up, because Lululemon is not just for yoga pants. The holiday season is here, Halloween is officially over, and we need to start thinking about the gifts we're going to give each other and ourselves. And at Lululemon.com, they have everybody covered. I just got some License to Train jogger pants, and they are the most comfortable, the most cozy, the softest pants I have ever put on. That's no joke. There's a reason why millions of people across this country and the world have fallen in love with Lululemon. And at Lululemon.com, whether you're male or female or identifying some other way, you are going to find your style. And if you think it's all jogging pants and yoga gear, you are completely wrong, just like I was. I look on the website, they have polo shirts, they have slacks, they have shoes, they have socks, they have swimwear, almost anything you need for your entire wardrobe. Lululemon.com has it. Go to Lululemon.com. Set the joy in motion this holiday season. Get cozy, get comfortable, get Lululemon at Lululemon.com. And we want to thank Lululemon for being a sponsor of the commercial break. Go on, guys, get yourself a pair of Lululemon pants. You're going to love it.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
I'm Margot Robbie, and I play Barbie.
And I'm Ryan Gosling, and I play Ken.
Max is now the exclusive streaming home of Barbie.
So cool.
And the Max with Ads plan is included with your Cricket $60 unlimited plan at no additional cost. Log in with your Cricket username and password to experience Max on all your favorite devices.
This is the best day ever.
It is the best day ever.
Don't miss Barbie, now streaming on Max. Phone plan streams in standard definition. Programming subject to change. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Tired of wasting time and money on starvation diets that lead to more frustration and stress? If there was a weight loss solution that could actually work for you, would you try it? Then head to Golo.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo.
I'm Amber. I've lost 128 pounds with Golo.
If you're ready to take back control of your life, head to Golo.com now and see how Golo can work for you. That's Golo.com.
My sleep is way better. My inflammation has gone way down. Golo saved my life. I was way overweight. That's what sent me down the path. I wanted to make sure and live for my kid.
I have literally tried everything. I was on the verge of getting gastric bypass surgery, and I saw the Golo commercial, and it was the last thing I tried because it worked.
Join over 2 million people who found a better way to lose weight with Golo. Your healthier and happier life begins at Golo.com. That's Golo.com. Again, Golo.com.
Okay, now here's an Ask TCB that I know I've gotten a lot of over the last month. And so let me get into it. Whatever happened to Marlin is the question.
I just asked you this yesterday.
You just asked me this. We've had lots of people.
It was like shower thoughts the other day for me too. I'm like, what happened to that guy?
Let me explain. And
and
sorry,
what happened to our experiment that we paid for the guy to do this?
He never he also followed up with me. He never got contacted by anybody.
Oh.
So guy. I don't know what was the difference between Marlin and this guy. Maybe looks. I'm not sure. I don't know. But
maybe we should have gotten Frankie B to help out with his profile.
His dating profile. Yeah, he probably had an alcoholic drink in his hand.
And he was in a bikini.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know about Marlin, that have joined the show recently, about 2 months ago, I have a friend named Marlin that lives not where I live, and so we stay in communication via text message and via phone calls. He explained to me that one time he went on to a dating site that caters to sugar mamas. So sugar mamas, older ladies that date younger men. He is in his late 30s, early 40s. And we calling him Marlin. That's not his real name. But he started to tell me about this.
I like Marlin.
Yeah. Marlin. It's a fish. I just realized that last night. I was actually trying to remember
he lives in Florida, right?
Yeah, well, that's where he stays mostly, yeah. I was trying to remember what name we gave him. I was like, what name did we give him? And then I saw it on the show notes. Marlin. That's it. Marlin. What a stupid name. Anyway, what a stupid pseudonym, Brian. Marlin went on one of these dating sites, not at our behest, but he started to tell me about it after he had been on a few dates. And one of the women who he was dating was extraordinarily loaded. She actually sent a Porsche to his house to be driven by him to pick her up on the first date.
Yeah.
It's like one of those car services where you like drop off a, really fancy car. And then he went and picked her up with the Porsche. Now, she said, what was it, after date number 8, I think it was? 10.
I thought it was 12.
Oh, maybe 12. Okay. So your memory's better than mine.
10 or 12. Yeah.
She said to him after date number 2, if you can make it 12 dates with me, we're going to Venice and we're going to stay there.
We're flying to Venice.
We're flying to Venice. That's it. That's going to be our 12th date or our 13th date or whatever it was. We're going to go to Venice. So this was like 2 months ago, and we were following him up to like date number 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And what we learned was that Marlin was a little put off by this lady in bed because she wasn't his type necessarily. She was much older.
Yeah.
And she was
very aggressive.
Very aggressive.
Yeah.
She was like, you're going to eat me out hard. You're going to move your tongue to the right, move it to the left, get on it, harder, faster, slower. He was like basically in a like BDSM situation where she was in full control of what was going on in the bedroom. And Marlin was having trouble keeping it hard. He was having a trouble with all of these demands. So Krissy and I made the assumption that either Marlin was in it for the money or Marlin really liked to be controlled.
Yeah,
and he just wasn't saying anything.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's where we left off. We were on date like number 8 or 9 when we left off. What had happened was Marlin started to get uncomfortable with the fact that I was talking about this on the show.
Okay.
And so he kind of said, I'm going to press pause on sharing these stories for now because I actually listened to your show and I'm concerned that somehow, some way, this lady is going to hear about this and I'm going to, it's not going to be great. But what I really think was he just didn't want his personal shit on air, regardless of whose name was being used. Yeah. Well, he started communicating with me again a number of weeks ago.
Okay, good.
They had gone to Europe. So you ready? Here's what happened.
Yes, I'm so ready.
Yeah. So I'm giving you the Brian Green version of the Marlin story, right? Because I don't want to just read off of the text message. I feel like that might tick somebody off.
It's mostly embellished.
It's mostly bullshit. It's much more interesting than it actually was. I'm actually going to try and play it right down the line. And you know what? Marlin also knows this is going on air, so maybe he's embellishing too. So anything you hear on the show, just don't believe it, okay?
Yeah.
Just it's all in good fun. So Marlin not on date number whatever it was, but a number of dates after that because of Marlin's work schedule. He was out of town. He had to do some traveling for work, stuff like this. Marlin and this lady start planning their trip to Venice.
So exciting.
Their trip to Venice actually turned into almost a month in Europe.
Wow.
She hired a private plane to take them to Europe.
That is no joke in itself right there.
Okay.
Like even people who have private planes don't fly them over to Europe because it's so expensive.
It's a ridiculously expensive. I mean, you can fly from Atlanta to Valdosta and it's going to be like $1,000 a person, and that's on a shared private plane, right? What Marlin explains to me is that the bedroom behavior just gets more aggressive and it's not a negotiation. She's like, no, this is the way that I like it and this is the way you're going to do it.
She's a woman who knows what she likes.
She knows what she likes and she doesn't even like him talking when they're making love. Like she doesn't want any responses whatsoever. She just wants him to do what she wants to do. And if he does those things, then at the end, like a good little boy, he will get off and she will figure out how to do that, right? Now I said, how do you get past the fact that you weren't even like getting hard at one point? You just found this all really kind of disgusting and weird. And he said, why Bryan 3000?
Yeah.
Why Bryan 3000? Don't worry about it. He said, why Bryan 3000? He's using some helpers, daddy's little helpers.
Okay.
Right? Which she knew about. And she paid for.
Okay.
She paid for the fucking Cialis or whatever it was. Yeah. She was like, I don't care. Get some Cialis, get some hard-on juice, whatever you need to do. Drink some, funky cold Medina. Whatever you need to do, get it done, because we are not going to have a relationship without sex, and you are not going to not do what I ask. That is the trade-off.
Yep.
In the meantime, she has been paying his mortgage, paying his car, paying his bills. He has a credit card under her account that he can use at his discretion, at his leisure. He is fully sugar mamaed up.
Yeah.
There is nothing she won't do for him.
I love this so much because, you hear about this all the time with guys and girls. So it's refreshing. to hear it reversed.
Totally.
Yep.
And honestly, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. I mean, he has a really hard time with monogamy, but it couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
I bet he's monogamous with her.
He's monogamous with her. I mean, but this is the poor guy that also got left at the table after 6 people decide. I mean, Marlin's love life is a kind of a hot mess. And finally, it's working out for him. The only thing he has to do is have sex with a woman he doesn't find particularly attractive. It's not a bad trade-off.
She becomes more attractive with that bank account.
I agree. Like this, it's not the question posed in the latest episode of Love is Blind. Is love enough? And the answer, according to Astrid and I, is no. It's not enough. You need a lot of other things. You got to figure out whether or not someone's mentally stable, financially stable, emotionally stable. All of those things were no for me, but Astrid decided to take me on because she...
It was the charity case.
I was a charity case because of my wry smile and wonderful sense of humor. Had she known I was going to be the host of the commercial break, it definitely would have been no. But she started this, Astrid.
She did.
So he has... There's some trade-offs there, and he'll admit it, right? But he also says that they do have a lot of fun together.
I
when
remember
they
him
are
saying
together.
this since the beginning, and that makes a difference. It's
It
fun
does.
to have fun.
Yeah. He says this is kind of like a Love is Blind situation. If he said she's not a bad looking woman, but if he just forgets about the physical attractiveness part of it, that otherwise they have a ton of fun together. He said he's actually getting used to what's going on in the bedroom.
Yeah.
He's like, it's kind of fun and it's kind of disarming and relaxing and fun in the sense that I don't have to worry about how I'm going to please a woman. She's going to direct me. It's like a Waze for orgasm. It's like Apple Maps for the G-spot, right? She tells me, put your finger up here and point this in this direction, a little to the left, a little to the right. Yeah. Do it more, do it soft, do it harder, whatever. And he's like, she's a freaky deek. Like, she likes all kind of weird, like a finger in the ass and her finger in his ass and all kind of stuff. But he's okay with that because he doesn't have to guess. He knows. So I'm like,
that makes sense.
This is actually this. I'm starting to understand why Marlin... I don't take Marlin as the kind of guy. I take any guy as the kind of guy who would like a Amex that you could just fly anywhere, especially if you haven't been used to that in your life, right? But I'm not the kind of guy who would stay in a relationship just for money.
No,
I'm not.
No,
right?
I'm
I
not
would be
either.
like, I don't know about all this, right? It feels shitty, and I don't want it to be at anybody's thumb. But I'm starting to really think that Marlin likes this girl. So they get on a private plane. They're headed to Europe. They're headed overnight to Europe, right? And in this plane, there is a stewardess and a couple of pilots, right? There's an airline attendant and a couple of, it's actually, I think if I remember correctly, you might have said steward. I don't know, but flight attendant and the two of them. It's like a 7-seater, 8-seater, however big they are, like a bigger jet because it's got to get across the ocean.
Yeah.
And there's like a couch and a couple of chairs,
and
champagne and the whole 9 yards.
Fun.
Well, the lady in this situation, the sugar mama, tells the attendant to please go sit in the quarters. Like there was like a little room.
She wants to
go sit in the quarters. Yeah.
Some freaky
give us
time.
an hour to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And she's like, Marlin, get here, give head, do it fast, and do it hard. Marlin's like, fuck no. Like, I'm not going to do this on a plane. There's like other people. There's the pilots. They could just pop open the door at any time. She did not care. She was like,
come on.
Down
What do you
on
think was going down on the Rolling Stones plane?
Oh, yeah. But I mean, that's the Rolling Stones. Like, I mean, admittedly, Marlin's no Keith Richards. I mean, he's not like that.
It's not like they've never seen it before, I bet.
But okay, so this whole thing goes down in the air.
I'm picturing you go to your quarters.
Go to your quarters.
You
I want
get
head.
down here.
Yeah. You pull up my skirt. Get me from behind right now. But he said that, while he was a little embarrassed about the whole situation, he has to oblige because that's just the agreement that they have. Anytime he is like a sex slave, literally.
Yeah.
So they get over, they puddle jump or something. They get to Venice eventually, and they are staying in a beautiful hotel room that overlooks the main canal.
The Grand
Canal, right in Venice. I've stayed
I love Venice.
I love it so much. It's so beautiful. I didn't know you hate us, Venice. I know you hate every time these fucking ass clowns come over there and trounce all over your shit. I know, but you really got a treasure. You got like an international treasure of a city.
Yes.
And I hope that you find the balance that's
all
right
of
for you.
Italy.
Yeah,
really.
all of Italy, really. But I just love Venice. Astrid and I took our baby moon there. We also stayed on the Grand Canal on a room overlooking the Grand Canal. It's just like wonderful. The whole scene was wonderful. So they get there, and he says at one point I started to feel, he was in the United States, I always feel a sense of embarrassment or a sense of self-consciousness when I walk in and I go to a restaurant with a woman that's so much older than I am, right? And that's obvious. And she is like, wants to make it known that I'm her guy, right?
Yeah.
Hand in the back pocket on the ass, kissing over the table, come give me a hug, that sit over here with me, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
He always felt like a sense of a little shame about that because he's like, I'm like a guy.
It's unconventional.
It's unconventional is at best. He knows everyone in the room is looking at him. And then he says also there's a lot, sometimes I go to a bar and there's like a lot of hot girls and it's like I'm totally being smothered by my grandma, right? It's a little weird.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And so this is like the hardest part of the situation. We're behind closed doors. I just kind of let it fly. But when we're not, I kind of crimp up a little bit. I feel a little bit weirded out. Yeah, self-conscious. Yeah. He goes, when I get to Venice and we get all settled and we start going in and out of these nice restaurants and these corner, cafes and all this other stuff, I feel free. He said, because I look around the room and there are other situations that are unconventional. Yeah. There are men much older than the women. There are women that have, younger men with them. He's like, seems to be no sense of
Europe's always more.
Yeah, no, it's more progressive.
Fair.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. The love is love. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
The hard ones with the hard ones.
Oh my God, I was laughing.
Hey, Krissy, it's me. It's Bryan. I'm down here in New Orleans, and I don't have a ride home. That's because Dinkeldork left me here after beating me senseless with a metal lighter. But you know how it goes. The hard ones with the hard ones.
I was cracking up about that the other day. Like, all of a sudden, it just came to my mind. I was like, the hard ones with the hard ones.
It sure does. Oh, look, the police officers are here to arrest her. Well, I guess I go bail her out because the heart wants what the heart wants. I gotta go get some stitches now. I'll be back. They say they can surgically reattach my penis. The heart wants what the heart wants. Krissy? Here's what it is.
I'm glad your heart stopped wanting that. I have to say.
Well, once my heart stopped doing all the talking, I figured out nothing else in my body wanted what I wanted. After the intervention, I realized that this wasn't a healthy situation. That's the 7th intervention, by the way, not the first.
Right.
So, the heart wants what the heart wants. And in Europe, it's just one of those things. So they are gallivanting around Europe, and they are doing it right, staying in the nicest of hotels. They went.
Sounds amazing.
Marlin had only been skiing a couple times in his life, so then they travel up to I can't remember if it was Switzerland or Germany or somewhere. They go and they go to a really nice ski resort, and she's not into it, but she like decks him out with all the latest and greatest that he's not going to travel back with because that's just not what he's going to do, right? And so she's like, whatever, just get it, and I'll be here at the spa day. And you go ski. Yeah. And he's like, I'm skiing. So he gets to the ski road. They're skiing. So this is the one like entanglement in the whole situation.
Okay.
So she goes to this first spa day. He's going to go for a ski day. So he's leaving early. She's leaving early. They agree they'll meet back at the hotel room when it's time for bed because she's going to go do this, whatever, facial, massage, and then she's going to meet some person that she knows or whatever for dinner. And okay. So he is skiing. And he takes a break. He's skiing like the bunny hills, right? So he takes a break and he goes to the lodge or the ski, whatever. I don't know what the fuck you call it. He goes there and he's having a cup of whatever, Bailey's.
Hot toddy.
And he's having a hot toddy and he meets a hot toddy.
Ooh.
And he meets like a really attractive French woman who speaks English, who is there with a couple of her friends. And she is single, and she is in her mid-20s, and he says she is gorgeous, right? And she's like right up his alley.
Yeah.
She's got this beautiful accent. Yeah. They're getting a little tipsy. The fire's roaring. He's like, this is the type of woman that I would devour in bed because this is my type, my body type, my face type. My personality
and
type.
The girls were like, this guy's exactly my type, rich.
Yes, he's so rich. Did you see a $17,000 skis? Got. Yeah. He's got $17,000 skis and he's wearing Armani on the ski slope. That's a little much, don't you think? Is that a Rolex? That's two Rolexes. The hard wants what the hard wants. So yeah, you can imagine how this is. And he's like, this is
sparks have been sparked.
That's right. 30, 40. It's like midday. 30, 45 minutes in, he's like totally smitten with this woman, right? And she's like, well, we're going to go, down into town and we're going to go have some drinks, right? Into the little whatever village. We're going to go have some drinks down there in the next hour.
Those little villages are so cute.
I know.
They're so romantic.
I know. I've spent so much time there. I just love it. And they're just tiny and they have the best food and everyone's generally pretty welcoming. So anyway, he's like, I make a bad decision. And I decide that I am indeed going to go have drinks with these girls. But the agreement wasn't I was just going to stay on the ski slopes. The agreement was let's spend the day apart and we'll meet back together at the end of the night.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not done anything wrong. I'm not making out with anybody. I just found a couple people that I found interesting and I decide to go have drinks with them. Well, he goes down into the village to have drinks with him and she starts blowing up his phone. So now he's like 2 hours into this interaction with this woman and she's like blowing up the phone. Like, where are you at? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And he's like, damn, that's like completely unlike her, right? He texts back after like a half an hour and he says, I'm down in the village. I met some new friends. We're down here having a drink. And she says, I know. I saw you walking down the street with your new friends. Oh. And I want you to come back to the room immediately, right? And he was like, what the fuck do I do? He makes the right call, and I think the right call, and he decides to go back to the room.
Yeah.
If you're involved with somebody and you go on a trip with him, you don't leave for another woman. That's just a really bad idea.
No.
And regardless of what kind of common situation is going on, you don't leave somebody, and your flight home depends on her, right? It's going to be hard to get a flight home if she turns off your credit card. You know what I'm saying? So for all the reasons said above and the hard ones,
he aborted the mission.
He aborted the mission, and he said that he had never seen her so angry, that she was usually in life pretty like level-headed, and he had never seen her so angry. She thought that he had like purposefully met up with these people. Like he saw him going, like she was having lunch in the village, and he saw her go. She saw him. She saw him go into this bar with these ladies.
With the beautiful
and
French
he thought
ladies.
This was all set up, and she got really like upset about this. And he said it took a good day and a half to clear the gunk away. And then they got on with life. Then everything was fine. He had to give her head 3 times.
I was going to say he paid for it in the bedroom.
Oh yeah, it's like 1 by 3,000 double Joes. $2 Take two if you're going the distance. So they move on with their trip that ended in France, that ended in Paris, in Paris,
City of Love, City of Lights.
And they had a moment in the City of Lights. She said, I could see myself spending the rest of my life with you.
Oh.
How do you feel? And Marlin said, lying to her, I also think I could spend the rest of my life with you. It's like, dude, I should have never said those words, because now I think that, she might be expecting that there's some kind of proposal. And because of the way she is, she may propose to me.
Right.
Like, she might be the one that proposes to me. Right. He said early on in the relationship, she said she was never going to get married again because of the bad divorce that she had been through.
Yeah.
But that since then, she had softened up her opinion about that. And now he's afraid she's going to ask for his hand in marriage.
Somebody to take care of her when she's older. So.
She's already older. She's like 1 minute away from depends. The lady's old. I mean, she's old, Krissy. We're not talking like in her 50s. Yeah, we're talking like she's rounding the corner to 70.
Okay.
So this is 40-year age gap almost. Not 40, 30-year age gap almost.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Would you bargain for that? Let's say this. Just riddle me this. Take Jeff, because I know you don't like to think outside of the Jeff tunnel. Let's take the Jeff tunnel and push Jeff 20 years older.
Yes.
Right? And you just meet him. And you like everything about him. He's great. He's wonderful. He's lovely. Right? But he's rounding the corner into being a full-blown senior citizen where you're going to have to take care of him, and there is no doubt. If you commit to him for the rest of your life. Now, I know that you love Jeff no matter what.
Yeah, I would do it.
Okay.
But also, I'm going to say this, because I did at one point date a much older man than me, and I'll tell you, it didn't get very far. And the reason is, we were from two totally different
like universes.
Generations.
Yeah.
Like totally.
Yeah.
Like any kind of shows he remembered from his childhood were way out of my realm. I didn't know those. There wasn't a common relation.
You didn't know the Mr. Ed show?
Yeah, I did, but only from Nick at Night.
The Ed Sullivan show? Yeah.
So it was just that we were so far apart, and that I couldn't really get into the next stage of forming that really great bond.
Astrid and I have a greater age difference than you and Jeff.
Yes.
Much greater age difference than you and Jeff.
But you're not that bad.
Well, Astrid and I, this is like the honest to God truth. Like, this is not a TCB Bryan. This is Bryan speaking with no.
Bryan here.
Yeah, Bryan here. Hey, it's Bryan here. Hey. The reality for us, I think, had we ever talked about our age difference, it would have become a problem. But never, not once, except for fleeting moments where it was unnecessary to discuss, have we ever talked about our age difference, because we don't feel like there is an age difference.
Right.
It's obvious I'm growing older fast. I'm older and things affect me differently than they affect her. But we don't talk in that way because we don't feel that age difference. It's like a true.
We don't either.
It's like a true baseline love. Now, when I'm 70, when I'm 85 and she's in her 70s, will it become an issue? It's possible that it could become an issue, right?
Well, you'll just be in the home with me.
But when you're 30... Yeah. Keep those episodes coming! Okay. Can I get some new teeth?
I don't think so. Not this month, honey. It's only $1 million check for the 364,000th episode of the commercial break.
The reality for Marlin is much different.
Yes.
Because there is a 35-year age difference, I think is what he said. 35 years. In another decade, he's going to have to really consider whether or not he's willing to take care of someone who is probably going to be in the senior citizen home.
Yeah.
When you get up to 70, I know that there's people in their 80s and 90s that are like Papa Joe that are just doing it. But that's not everybody. That's not most people. Most people, when they turn in 85-ish, you're starting to need help to do certain things, like just for daily care and living and stuff like that. Now, could he take it this distance and get in the will? That's a consideration.
Does she have children, and has he met them? If so,
that is a fantastic question that I don't think we've ever broached that subject, but I will ask. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm sure he would have mentioned it. Don't you think?
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll ask him. This question is coming now, Marlon, so just text me the response anyway. But I do have to say that I think this rather unconventional love story has turned more convention than we thought.
I think so. Yeah. I like it.
I like it too.
I like it. As long as it's fun.
Yeah.
You're having fun and, there's some type of something that's happening because this has really only been going on for, maybe
4 months?
4 months? Yeah.
4 months.
4 months.
I'm rooting for him. I honestly am.
I always say there's like a 6-month mark.
Oh, yeah.
There always seemed to be a 6-month mark
6 days,
with me.
6 weeks, 6 months, 6
where
years.
I was like,
But the heart wants what the heart wants.
And if your heart wants more TCB, you can go to tcbpodcast.com. You can find out more about Krissy and I. You can watch all the video. You can listen to all the audio. It's all right there at tcbpodcast.com. But more importantly, we want to hear from you. Questions, comments, concerns, content ideas. You need advice. You want to ask us a question. You have a story to tell, or you just want to share with us something about your personal life. We would love to hear it. And don't worry, I won't just put it on air automatically. I'll ask you first. So, but you know what you do? You go to tcbpodcast.com, you hit the Contact Us button, and then you fill in that form. It comes straight to us, and we will respond. Or you can dial anywhere in the world, toll-free. That means Marlin, over there in France, can text me at 855-TCB-8383. That's 855-TCB-8383. Text, leave a voicemail. It's toll-free. We'll pick up the tab anywhere in the world. That is the new TCB hotline. 855-TCB-8383. Okay, I'd also like you to do us a favor and go to youtube.com/thecommercialbreak. We edit these videos with visual and audio that you don't hear here on the podcast, so you can go and watch it again and find it twice as funny. Actually, I think Morgan might make us twice as funny as we already are.
That's true.
I mean, it's a kind of a low bar, but, she does her best. So we want to thank Morgan. She's always doing a wonderful job. Our brand new editor, Christina, I no longer spend all my nights in the studio, and Asser doesn't know what to do with me. She's like, I don't even know what to do with you now that you're here. Can you go back in the studio? Isn't there another podcast you can work on? We'll figure it out, honey. I promise. So, in the course of a day, there's only so much that you can get to, and I had lots of other stuff to get to, so I guess we'll push it to a second episode.
Yes, we will.
There's going to be another one 2 seconds from now, so don't worry about it. I love you, my friend, Krissy.
I love you, dear Bryan.
And best to you. Oh, best to you, Krissy.
Best to you, Bryan.
And best to you out there in the podcast universe. Until next time, we always say, we do say, and we must say, bye!
Are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Tired of wasting time and money on starvation diets that lead to more frustration and stress? If there was a weight loss solution that could actually work for you, would you try it? Then head to Golo.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo.
I'm Amber. I've lost 128 pounds with Golo taking release.
If you're ready to take back control of your life, head to Golo.com now and see how Golo can work for you. That's GOLO.com.
My sleep is way better. My inflammation has gone way down. Golo saved my life. I was way overweight. That's what sent me down the path. I wanted to make sure and live for my kid.
I have literally tried everything. I was on the verge of getting gastric bypass surgery, and I saw the Golo commercial, and it was the last thing I tried because it worked.
Join over 2 million people who have found a better way to lose weight with Golo. Your healthier and happier life begins at Golo.com. That's GOLO.com. Again, GOLO.com.